Hello guys and welcome to TechWolf, and we are going to do CompTIA A Core1 practice test. Before we dive in, I would like to advertise or promote my Udemy course, which I have created for you guys, where you will get practice tests for Core 1 and Core 2. As some of you asked me why there is no Udemy course for Core 1 questions and Core 2 combined in one. Why? We always on Udemy we create one course for Core 1, for example, and another course with questions for Core 2. So here you go guys, here you have a Udemy course for the latest Core 1 and Core 2 exams, which is 1201, or to be precise, this is 220-1201 and 220-1202. And these are multiple choice questions which you can practice for yourself. And here if we scroll to the practice tests, you can see that there are Core 1, Core 1, so there are 3 tests and each test has 200 questions each, and this is for Core 1. And there is another 3 tests which is Core 2 and Core 2, and they also contain each 200 questions. So together in this one course you will get 1230 questions. So no further ado, let's get into it. A technician is configuring a router for a small business. What security features should they enable to prevent unauthorized devices from connecting? So, if a technician is configuring a router for a small business, what security features should they enable to prevent unauthorized devices from connecting? Screen resolution adjustment, overclocking, MAC address filtering, printer queue management, or auto brightness. And here the correct answer is MAC address filtering. And the best thing guys for you to follow these videos is if you would take a pen and paper and mark how many of these questions you will get correct or how many you will get wrong, to see percentage how much you are prepared already for this CompTIA A Core1 exam. And next question, a technician is troubleshooting a home Wi-Fi network. Which encryption method should be avoided due to security risks? And here we are talking about encryption method in home Wi-Fi network, which should be avoided due to security risks. VPA2, VEP, VPA3, AES, or TKIP. And here the correct answer is VEP or VEP, and this is also one of the first encryption methods for home networks. VEP is outdated and vulnerable to security breaches. A technician needs to configure a router to allow remote access to security cameras. What should they enable? Port forwarding. And every time when you are reading these questions, try to understand question even before you start reading the answers. As if you don't understand the question, no point in real exam to start reading the answers, as it will make only a bigger house in your head. And with each of these videos I'm trying to give you these advices, as me myself I have taken many of CompTIA exams in A+, in networking, in security and many others, so I really have a good experience. And another thing guys is, before you are doing any of these real exams, try to do these practice tests as many as you can to make your head get used to reading and quickly understanding the question and being able to quickly answer the question. And why I am saying or mentioning that you should understand the question before you even approach the answers is because in many or 90% of cases, if you have studied for the exam, if you will read the question, your head will automatically start searching for the correct answer because it will already kind of know the correct answer. But if you will read the question, will not understand the question, and then you will read all answer options, then you will just make more house in your head. That's why read the question, understand the question, and only when you understand the question and what question is asking, approach the answers. And that will make your answering these multi-choice questions much faster. And to learn to do this, the easiest way is to do these practice tests before you are even approaching the real exam. And by the way, by doing these practice tests, you are learning much more and much faster rather than learning by some video course or by any reading books or anything else. Because every time when you are reading a question, you are put into the real world scenario. As we are here, for example, we seeing a real world scenario, a technician needs to configure a router. So we understand the technician needs to configure a router to allow remote access to security cameras. So a technician needs to configure a router with the purpose to allow access to security cameras. What should they enable? So we need to straight away start understanding or thinking about what should we enable to allow remote access to the security cameras. And with remote, we already understand that that is most likely Wi-Fi access. And then we read port forwarding, Wi-Fi direct, screen mirroring, DHCP reservation, or automatic updates, which would be the correct answer here. And here the correct answer would be port forwarding, as port forwarding allows external access to devices inside a private network. And yes guys, I will not be interrupting you as always in these videos. From now on, let's go and let's do only these tests. In some cases, I just want you to give some advices how you should prepare or how you have to prepare if you haven't done any of these types of exams before. So next question, a technician is upgrading a laptop's Wi-Fi card to support the latest wireless standard. Which standard should they look for? And you should also know Wi-Fi standards: 802.11n, 802.11ax, 802.11g, 802.11a, 802.11b. So which one is the correct answer here? And the correct answer here is 802.11ax, as 802.11ax, which is also known as Wi-Fi 6, is the latest and most efficient wireless standard. A technician is installing a new wireless access point in an office. What should they do to maximize coverage? And here we straight away understand that the purpose is to maximize the coverage of the Wi-Fi in the office where the technician is installing this wireless access point. And you should also know what is wireless access point, as this is not a router. Put it near the floor. Place it in the central location away from the obstructions. Install it in a metal cabinet. Place it in a corner of the building, or disable the 5 GHz band. And when we are talking about wireless access points, always remember that they have to be located somewhere above and somewhere in the middle or in the center. And here that the correct answer is place it in the central location away from obstructions. Place it in a central location away from obstructions. So this is the correct answer. A central location with minimal interference ensures the best coverage. A technician needs to set up a guest Wi-Fi network for visitors. What is the main security benefit of guest network? It provides faster speeds than the main network. It blocks all external websites. It disables Bluetooth automatically. It isolates guest devices from internal network resources. Or it allows access to the router's settings. And when you are approaching questions like these, think logically. What would be the best answer here? And Logical answer would be that it isolates guest devices from internal network resources, as that is always the main point of creating a guest network. So guests are not able to interrupt or even have close access or even any type of access to your company data. So it isolates guest devices from internal network resources, as guest networks keep visitors separate from the main network for security. And next question. A user wants to connect their gaming console to the network for the lowest latency. What should they use? Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 5, and here you also should know to what standards these Wi-Fi apply. As you remember, just one question ago we talked about what standard is for Wi-Fi 6. It is 802.11ax, a Bluetooth connection, wired Ethernet, a range extender. And here the correct answer is wired Ethernet, as a wired connection provides lower latency and better stability than Wi-Fi. And because Wi-Fi Ethernet pretty much is your cables, your CAT cables, CAT5, CAT5, CAT6, CAT7 and CAT8. A technician is configuring a router in a crowded office. Which Wi-Fi channel should they use to reduce interference? 256, you should also know these channels. 259, 1611, 278 or 10, 412 or 13. And here the correct answer is 1, 6 or 11, as these channels are not overlapping. These channels do not overlap in a 2.4 GHz band, reducing interference. A user reports that their laptop Wi-Fi speed drops significantly when moving to another room. What is the likely cause? A faulty graphics driver, physical obstruction and interference, the USB power settings, the monitor refresh rate, a disabled antivirus software. And here the correct answer is a physical obstruction and interference, because the question itself, it is saying that pretty much a user Wi-Fi speed drops significantly when moving to another room. So their obstruction, this could be also already a wall, and there could be other different interference when user leaves the room where most likely router is located or access point is located. A technician is configuring a network and needs a wireless standard with the longest range. So we need a wireless standard with the longest range. Which should they choose? 802.11n, 802.11ac, 802.11b, 802.11g, or 802.11a. Which wireless standard is with the longest range? And here the correct answer is 802.11n, as 802.11n provides the longest range due to its MIMO or multiple input, multiple output technology and support for both 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz. A technician is troubleshooting slow Wi-Fi speeds in an apartment building. What is likely cause? So, likely cause for slow Wi-Fi speeds in an apartment building: a damaged monitor, the printer driver, a faulty sound card, slow mouse cursor, channel interference from neighboring networks. What would be the correct answer here? And here the correct answer, as we are already talking about apartment building, would be that the channel interference from the neighboring networks, as usually when you are, or if you are, or if some Wi-Fi providers are setting up internet, there might be multiple different Wi-Fi providers in one building, because not all apartments, not all people book or buy the same Wi-Fi. They might have different Wi-Fi providers, and that could cause the channel interference from neighboring networks, which makes many different networks from many different Wi-Fi providers. And next question, a user wants to prioritize video streaming on their home network. What settings should they adjust in the router? Screen brightness, MAC filtering, QoS or quality of service, firewall settings, or device manager. So, a user wants to prioritize video streaming on their home network, and you should also know that this is achievable only by quality of service, because by using a quality of service you can prioritize which type of service, whether it's a streaming, whether it's a data transfer, which you want to prioritize one over the other. And if user wants to prioritize, for example, video streaming, as this is more important for him, he could do it by quality of service, as quality of service settings allow prioritization of network traffic for certain applications or devices, and you can do it on your router. And if you don't know how to access your router, you can simply open any browser, check what is your IP address. If you don't know how to open your home router's login page, what you do is you open a command prompt, in search type in CMD, hit enter, and it will open a command prompt, and here type in ipconfig. I know that this is not related to this video, but I will show you anyway, because someone might not know, as this is CompTIA A Core1 exam, guys, you might not know still how to find your router's login page. And here, once you type in ipconfig, here you can see your different Ethernet adapters. As you see, Ethernet adapter 4. What you need to look for here is wireless local area network adapter. This is in my scenario, as I'm using wireless internet. So once you have found which adapter you are using, all you need to find is the default gateway, as default gateway is that IP address which is leading your all devices out to the internet. Copy this address, open any browser, paste this IP address into the browser, and you will find your login page of your router. Okay guys, but let's continue with this video. So, quality of service, and next question. A technician is installing a new dual band router. What frequency bands will it support? 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz. And here we are talking a dual band router, and you should know what is dual band router. 1 GHz and 3 GHz, 5 GHz and 6 GHz, 900 MHz and 1.2 GHz, 3.2 GHz and 4.1 GHz. So which one it refers to dual band? And we are talking about the most popular frequencies, which are 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz, as dual band routers operate on both 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz for compatibility and performance. As many routers, there are routers which operate only on 2.4 GHz, and if you will get that router and you will want to use 5 GHz, you will not be able to use it, as it operates only 2.4. So whenever you are buying a router, make sure whether it is a dual band, if you want to use 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz as well. And next question, which Wi-Fi standard introduces MU-MIMO, multi-user, multiple input, multiple output, for better efficiency? So here we should also know with Wi-Fi standards what multiple user, multiple input, multiple output, which one is using. As you can see, which Wi-Fi standard introduced. Actually, this is asking which standard introduced, so which was the first which was implemented with this technology. Whether it was 802.11b, 802.11a, 802.11ac, 802.11g, or 802.11n. So which one introduced this? And the first question, sorry guys, and the correct answer is 802.11ac, as multi-user, multiple input, multiple output, allows multiple devices to communicate with the router simultaneously, improving efficiency. A technician is troubleshooting a laptop that disconnects from Wi-Fi frequently. What should be checked first? The monitor resolution, interference from other wireless devices, the graphics driver, is the USB mouse driver, or the screen refresh rate. So, which one is the correct answer here? And the correct answer is interference from other wireless devices, as nearby wireless devices, microwaves, and other electronics can cause Wi-Fi interference. A technician is setting up a new router and wants to use the strongest encryption method for security. So we are setting up a new router, whether it's a small business, probably this is Soho router, small office, home office, or in office or in our apartment. So, and we want the strongest encryption method for security. Which should they choose? So which security method is this? Web, VPA, VPA3, TKIP, or VPA2-PSK? And here the correct answer is VPA3, most likely, yes, as VPA3 is the latest and most secure Wi-Fi encryption standard. And here, as you can see, there is VPA2-PSK. There might be only VPA2 without this -PSK, and if it would be without -PSK, this means that that network would be with this method but without passcode, or because you wouldn't need to enter any passcode to access that network. That's just for information, and we are not using web because this is outdated, this is old, and this is insecure. And next question, a technician needs to extend Wi-Fi coverage in a large building. What device should they use? A wired printer, a network switch, a UPS, you should know what is UPS, a wireless range extender, and a graphics card. And here the correct answer is a wireless range extender, as Wi-Fi extender help improve coverage in areas where the signal is weak. A user is experiencing slow speeds on their 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi network. What is the best solution? Switch to a 5 GHz network, increase the router's fan speed, disable the firewall, upgrade the computer's RAM, or turn off airplane mode. And here the correct answer is switch to 5 GHz network, as 5 GHz Wi-Fi provides faster speeds and less interference compared to 2.4 GHz. A technician is configuring a new Wi-Fi network in an office with high device density. Which standard should be used for the best performance? 802.11a, 802.11ax, 802.11g, 802.11b, 802.11n, and like I mentioned, for your Core1 exam you will 100% will get questions on Wi-Fi standards, so study them inside out and try to understand. And even now, when you are looking at this question and when you are seeing these answers, you should have a table, for example, written out with all these standards beside you, so you can understand. Pause this video, look at this question, try to understand which one and why is the correct answer, because when you first time really study it and try to understand for yourself with the question and try to understand why, which answer or which standard is the most appropriate for this question, then you are really learning for yourself. So the correct answer here would be AX, as 802.11ax, this is the latest, this is Wi-Fi 6, 802.11ax, Wi-Fi 6 provides better performance, higher capacity, and improved efficiency in high density environments. A technician is troubleshooting a laptop that cannot connect to a Wi-Fi network. Other devices are connected without issue. What should they check first? The internet provider's website, the laptop's Wi-Fi adapter status, the monitor refresh rate, the USB power settings, or the external hard drive connection. Which one is the correct answer? And the correct answer is the laptop's Wi-Fi adapter status, as if only one device has trouble connecting, its Wi-Fi adapter may be disabled or malfunctioning. Which of the following RAID levels provide both redundancy and increased performance by combining disk striping and mirroring? RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 6, RAID 10 or JBOD? And here the correct answer is RAID 10. And for your CompTIA A Plus exam, you would need to know only about RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5 and RAID 10. Don't mind RAID 6 or JBODs. As RAID 10, also called RAID 1 plus 0, combines mirroring and striping, offering both redundancy and speed. A user complains that their laptop touchpad is not responding. Which of the following would most likely resolve the issue? Replacing the laptop's hard drive, enabling the touchpad in the system settings or using a function key, changing the screen resolution, upgrading to a larger power adapter, connecting an external mouse, or reinstalling the network driver. And here the correct answer is enabling the touchpad in the system settings or using a function key, as touchpads can often be disabled via software settings or function key and need to be re-enabled. Which of the following printer types use toner as part of its printing process? And here you should know toner and ink. Inkjet, dot matrix, thermal, laser, daisy wheel or plotter. So which one uses toner? And here the correct answer is laser, as inkjet uses ink and laser printers are using toner. Here also be sure that you understand this, as laser printers use toner, which is the powder, which is not ink, as you can see here guys in the correct answer. Toner, powder and laser beam to transfer images onto a paper. Which of the following tools is used to terminate twisted pair network cables with RJ45 connectors? And the question is to terminate twisted pair network cables. So we are talking simply about cut cables. Which tool which we would use to connect RJ45 connector to a cut cable, which is also known as twisted pair network cable? Wire stripper, cable tester, multimeter, crimper, punch down tool, or tone generator? And here you should know that we should use crimper, as the crimping tool attaches RJ45 connectors to twisted pair Ethernet cables. A user wants to connect a mobile device to a PC to transfer files and charge the device at the same time. Which port type will best serve this purpose? VGA, HDMI, USB-C, Ethernet, which is also RJ45. When we are talking about Ethernet, then this is always when we are connecting different devices and network itself. So that is RJ45, PS/2 and 3.5mm audio jack. Which one would you use? And here the correct answer is USB-C, as this is the cable which would also allow us to charge our devices, as USB-C supports a high-speed data transfer and power delivery simultaneously, making it ideal for mobile devices. So yes guys, here we go, another test for CompTIA A Plus Core 1. And if you, like I mentioned, if you are interested, you can go and take my course on Udemy, where you can do 1200 practice test questions for Core 1 and for Core 2.